Hello, everyone. Deborah Roth from Spirited Living here. Delighted to have you back in our divinely feminine space with my dear goddess sister and poet extraordinaire, Annie Finch. Yay!
Hey, I'm so glad to be here. This is really fun.
Yeah, and I'm visiting Annie today in Brooklyn. First time, she just moved here a few months ago. We actually spent the afternoon, so this is really apropos for our energy that we're going to be working with, for our goddess that we're going to be working with today, playing with, not working, well, we're working with her, playing with her, which is Gaia, who I've always called Mama Gaia. She's like one of my big members of my goddess team, my inner goddess team. And we went over to the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens, which is just not bursting, not everything is bursting yet, but it's so on the verge, and it actually had all the different stages of blossoms, from some that are still in the buds to some that are blossoming. So it was a perfect representation of Gaia, who we are focusing on this week, because Earth Day is always April 22nd. And in fact, this time last year, I did, I highlighted 3 Earth goddesses, including Gaia. I'm not going to do the other 2 this time, but I'll definitely tell you to take a look at that video, which is actually in my most recent videos on my channel, on my YouTube channel, because for some reason it disappeared a year ago. So if you want to know more about the 2 other goddesses, which I highlighted, and there's so many Earth goddesses around the world, but the 2 that I highlighted in addition to Gaia last year were Coatlicue, who is the Aztec Earth goddess, and Asasiya, who is a West African goddess. She's honored by the Akan people of West Africa. And her name, Asasiya, actually means old woman earth. And they both were considered these creatrixes, these givers of life. So just a little bit of background on that. So Annie, just tell us a little bit about what you do and why how we love being together here and why it's significant for you.
Oh, well, I'm a witch and a goddess lover, as well as Deborah, and we've done all kinds of different things together, rituals and classes, and I'm just thrilled to be here. It's really fun. I'm developing now a class called Magic of Rhythmically Writing, which is using the secrets of poetry from the ancient secrets of poetry for self-transformation through rhythmic language, which is really exciting and fun. And rhythm is such a divinely feminine quality. I mean, it's not, when we talk about the divine feminine, and you can look at the video that I always post at the end of these videos that goes into more detail about the divine feminine and what that means and how it's something that we need to bring back in our society, that we need, that men and women, this is completely gender free, that we need to, in order to bring balance back to our world. And the idea that, yes, we need rhythm, we need structure, we need all that left brain stuff to keep us moving forward and getting things done. But if we don't bring more rhythm and the rhythm of transformation and collaboration and cooperation, all of those things, and love of the earth, love of our bodies, love of the earth, those are divinely feminine qualities. And the recycling and the reincarnation. So I actually have here some ashes from my mom today, because today was her birthday, and I'm so happy that it worked out that we're here together doing Gaia, because to me Gaia is a goddess about transformation, and the Despacho ceremony in South America is a way of, transforming the things you want to get rid of by bringing them into the earth, because the earth will absorb them and reincarnate them. My mom is a huge believer in reincarnation. Here are some of her ashes, which I'm so happy of. Here she is in the earth. And it's really beautiful
lovely
to be honoring her today. Maggie Finch, poet and witch.
Aren't you proud of your little girl, Maggie?
She is.
So, and a mother. I mean, here we are talking about the primordial mother, and to be able to acknowledge our mothers in that way. I mean, this is, yes, Mother's Day is coming up, but I think when we talk about the primordial mother of life, the giver of life, it's a time to honor all of our mothers, separate from Mother's Day, but also a time to think about how you, when you embody Gaia, how are you, what kind of commitments do you want to make
to taking care of our planet, to supporting and nurturing Mother Earth, which, as we know right now, is sadly in desperate need of that. So is there some organization you can join, even if it's just donating money because you don't feel like you have the time? That's certainly something that Earth Day represents for us. And we'll talk about more of that in a minute. But let me tell you a little bit more about Gaia. So Gaia was the Greek giver of life. She was the one who birthed all of the gods and goddesses in the Greek pantheon for several generations. And the story goes, the myth goes, that in the beginning there was chaos, and out of that chaos, Gaia emerged. And she, she was having a good time starting to take, create the earth and that kind of thing, but she got lonely. So she manifested Uranus, who was the sky god. And between the two of them, she gave birth through her partnership with Uranus to all the heavenly gods in the Greek pantheon, I think they were all the Titans. And then she loved fooling around. She loved honoring her body. So she had several mates. And when checking my notes, the sea gods came out of her union with Pontus, who was the original god of the sea. So Neptune, the sea nymphs, all of those in Greek mythology all come from her union with Pontos. And then the gigantes, or the giants, came from her mating with Tartaros. And then mortal creatures were born directly from her, directly from the Earth Mother, directly from Gaia. So and the Greeks believed that if you made an oath, if you promised someone in the name of Gaia, that it was an unbreakable oath, that it was the strongest bond that you could make, since no one could escape from the earth herself. So think about, who do you need to make commitments to? What kind of commitment do you want to make to serving the earth, to serving and supporting all creatures that live on the earth, taking care of, adamant and inanimate, parts of the earth, all elements of the earth? How do you want to commit to that? What can you commit to in Gaia's name? And knowing that when you commit to something in Gaia's name, you are compelled to stay with it. And I love this representation. This is, if you have not seen it, and Annie hasn't seen it, so I think I'm convinced her she's really got to get busy and see it. I have seen all of the Disney movies, all the new ones, because of my granddaughters. And this is Moana, and the goddess that's shown here is the goddess of creation. In the movie, she's called Tefiti, and the whole movie revolves around how we can restore her. It's a pretty allegorical movie with great music and just a very powerful plot line. And this is a representation that may be familiar to many of you. This is kind of the classic image of Gaia. And particularly, and I think she's a pretty recent development out of the Gaia Theory, or the Gaia hypothesis, which actually was developed in 1970 by a chemist whose name, hold on a sec, was James Lovelock, and his research partner, who was Lynn Margulis, who was the wife, which I thought was kind of cool, of Carl Sagan, who many of you know is this big cosmic scientist, pretty amazing guy. And they were the first ones to propose that the Earth is a living being, and that the Earth herself is self-regulating all of the elements that comprise her in order to sustain life on it. So in the beginning, that was like, oh, that's ridiculous. Earth is not a living organism, which nowadays we know was not far out, but completely the truth. And we can see how everything is interconnected here, how we will not survive, humanity will not survive unless we take care of the oceans, unless we take care of the atmosphere, climate change and all that represents. So she came out of that. You can see she's holding the globe. She has animals all throughout her hair. I see a scorpion there, and what do we see? An alligator and all kinds of things there.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
whales.
So find her. I think if you Google Gaia statue, you'll probably find her somewhere. So I love her. She kind of came into my life after I did this video a year ago. So I think those are the main details that I want you to think about here, and to think about how you want to make your commitment to Mama Gaia, and then within yourself, calling on your own inner Gaia, your own Mama Gaia within you. How is it that you want to nurture yourself? What is it in your life that you've been yearning to give birth to? Books, businesses, classes, this wonderful class that Annie's been developing. How do you want to? Because remember, the mother archetype in women's spirituality is about creating and nurturing. It's not only giving birth to, babies. It's giving birth to anything that's meaningful to us. So think about all of that. That's your homework, so to speak, your home play. And then I'm so delighted to share with you a beautiful poem that Annie has wrote, I think, a while ago for Earth Day, that's very Gaia related. So I'm going to have her read the poem, and then we're going to sing you a little chant that's come out of it. And, oh my gosh, I'll also remember to put the YouTube link to a beautiful video of a chorus, 4-part chorus, singing this song. It's just exquisite. But first we're going to sing it to you, then we're going to sing it to you in a simple chant mode, and then if you want to go hear the choral version of it, you can do that too.
Earth Day. All we want is to find the love in the faces of the people we love. All we need is to find the dark in the nighttime sky, to lie down to sleep in the darkness where stars and moon keep vigil in the silence of a sleeping earth. All we require is to wake to sunlight in the morning, to simple sky, to breathe aloud as the sky is breathing, to drink the water of the earth. All we need is to touch the planet and find it clean where we were born, where our ancestors breathed and planted, where we live with the plants and birds. All we need is to live with the memory of a future we want to imagine. All we want is to find the love in the face of the planet we love.
A little dry. All right, now we'll sing you the chant. See how well we do with this. All we want is to find the love in the faces of people we love. All we need is to find the dark in the nighttime sky, to lie down to sleep in the darkness where stars and moons keep vigil in the silence of a sleeping earth. All we require is to wake to sunlight in the morning, to simple sky, to breathe aloud as the sky is breathing, to drink the water of the earth. All we need is to touch the planet and find it clean where we were born, where our ancestors breathed and planted, where we live with the plants and birds. All we need is to live with the memory of a future we want to imagine. All we want is to find the love in the face of the planet we love. So listen to that, keep singing it, and look for the link to the beautiful choral piece of it. And think of all the ways, really hold in your heart all of the ways that you can honor Mama Gaia within yourself and around the world and on our planet this week and always. Thanks so much for joining me. And thanks so much for being with me, Annie.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye for now.